If you're in the process of shutting down your business, there's a lot of logistics to take care of and a lot of things you have to think through. One of those things you have to think through is what to do with your website when you're going out of business. Most website advice articles out there, and most consulting firms out there, Elementive included, like to give advice around how you create new websites, how you improve existing websites, how you use websites to grow your business. There's not a lot of advice articles out there about how to handle your website when you're shutting down your business. And so in this video, what I want to do is try and walk you through the different things that you need to keep in mind as it relates to your website. And I want to give you advice in the most practical, straightforward way I possibly can to at least make this part of the logistics that you're trying to go through somewhat easier to manage. When you go out of business, there's almost always a transition process. There's a period where you have existing customers that you want to make sure that you're serving and you're able to get everything you need to them, but you also are in a situation where maybe you don't want to take on a lot of new customers. You need to stop bringing in new customers, that way you can wrap things up with existing customers. You might also be in a transition process where you have a clearance sale and you need to just sell a whole lot of inventory. So you need to start by mapping out what that process looks like for you. What are all the different steps that you're going to take? Once you have that, you can then give notification on your website. You want to inform visitors to your website that you're going out of business. You want to make sure you list any key dates or key pieces of information. You want to reassure people that you're still there and you're still able to provide customer support through a given date. That way you don't lose confidence from your customers at the last minute. The next step is you want to make sure you turn off your website in the right order. You want to shut down the ability to accept new orders or new leads from your website before you shut off the areas of customer service or fulfillment related areas. Next, you want to terminate any third-party services. Before you turn off your website, you want to ensure all of these services are fully disabled. Any recurring payments associated with these third-party services are canceled. Now, third-party services could be an advertising platform, could be a plugin within WordPress, could be some kind of analytics tool that you might be paying for. Whatever it is, you want to go through and make sure you really list out what all those third-party services are, make sure you have those fully documented, and you know where you need those third-party services on your website. You might find that some third-party services can be shut down pretty quickly. Maybe you don't need those analytics tools anymore because that's not really that important when you're shutting down your website. But maybe you do need to keep that third-party plugin that helps you collect contact information from your customers because you still need to get that up until the end. Next, you want to make sure you back up your website. This way you can prevent any future problems. You have something to go back to and reference and say, no, this is what my website said, this is what it looked like, this is how it was structured, should any questions arise in the future. Typically recommend you take a couple of backups. One backup should be taken before you make any changes, before you begin shutting anything down. That way it's kind of your last look at the full and complete version of your website before any changes were made. The next backup that you want to take is the backup right before you take down your website altogether. That way you have the confirmation messages, the termination messages, any other content that you've put up there describing how the business is going to be shut down in a backup as well. Again, should you need to reference that in the future. Next, you want to delete all the files from your server. You want to leave your server as clean as the day you purchased it. And this isn't because we like clean, empty servers. No, this has to do with security considerations. You want to make sure that you don't accidentally leave a file on your server that contains a customer's information, their name, their email address, their phone number. You want to make sure that you're not leaving key information about your business on there either. That way, if somebody hacks into your website after you've shut it down, after you're no longer actively paying attention to your website, you know that there's just nothing there for a hacker to find. After you've deleted all those files, the next thing you want to do is you want to post some kind of termination message. That way you can post a message that tells people that your website and your business has been shut down. Once you've done all that, you can terminate your hosting account. There's a couple things to keep in mind here. One, you may not want to terminate your hosting for a few months. That way, that termination message describing how your website has been shut down, your business is no longer in business, can be posted for a few months. Before you contact your hosting company, you want to make sure to read over your contract and really understand what happens when you cancel your service. In most cases, when you go to cancel your service, you've already paid through a certain date. In a lot of cases, you've paid for maybe a year at a time. So you'll actually have your hosting account for the duration of that year. So if your renewal comes up, let's say in August, but you're shutting down your business in May, then you'll have your hosting company from May through August, even though you may not necessarily need your website. That's okay. Just know going into that your hosting company probably won't give you a refund for that unused time. You're going to continue to have that website active at least until the hosting renewal date comes up. Some hosting companies, particularly for longer term contracts, might be willing to work with you. In other cases, your hosting might be month to month, in which case it's a lot easier to shut it down more quickly. Finally, you want to deal with your website's domain name. The domain name is the address people type in to access your website. And because people are typing it in, and they've seen it in search results, and they've seen it on social media, everywhere you've posted it, well, there is some brand reputation tied to that. There's a lot of identity tied to that. And possibly, depending on the nature of your business, it's also really personally tied to you. Given that, you may want to hold on to your domain name for a while longer, at least a few years after shutting down your business. And that way you can really make sure that nobody is abusing that domain name or pretending to be your old company to spam or steal information from customers. Now, this isn't a comprehensive list of everything that you need to do. Obviously, there will be things that change depending on the specific nature of your business and your website. However, hopefully these 8 key steps give you some ideas around the process you need to go through to shut down your website in a customer-friendly manner and a business-friendly manner. To recap, those 8 steps are giving notification, making sure that you've posted all the details that people need to know, including the dates and who to contact. Turning off your website in the right order, making sure that as you no longer need various pieces of your website, those come down step by step. Making sure that you terminate all third-party services, including disabling any recurring payments on those third-party services. Backing up your website to prevent any future problems and making sure that you have that point of reference. Next, deleting all files from your server. That way you can prevent any future problems should something accidentally have been left on your server. Next, posting a termination message can help really explain that your website and your business has been shut down. After that, terminating the hosting account. And finally, dealing with your domain name and deciding if you want to keep it or not, and if you do want to keep it, for how long. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it helped you through what I know is a very trying time. I wish you the best of luck in shutting down your website and shutting down your business. If you do have any questions or if I can be of any help, please email me at matthew@elementive.com.